Okie dokie. So I would like to do a short presentation for this oral exam based on the video AeroMine. It's a video found on YouTube. It's publicly available, and the channel is called Just Have a Think. So a little bit about the source. You could say that it's a very big channel, it's publicly available, and the author is a self-proclaimed non-scholar. So there's a disclaimer, he's a non-academic, but he's just a concerned citizen, you might say. The general idea, of course, is that AeroMine is a company proposing to use small wind turbines on top of rooftops, so decentralized model of wind power, you could say. If we look at some analysis, this is mostly carried by a logos appeal. The pitch in the video, the author is well spoken, he has a nice pace, you could say, and uses a lot of facts and science. So not a lot of pathos appeal, although you could argue that perhaps because he's very soft-spoken, that this is in an attempt to sort of make people feel good or appeal to their emotions in that way. But it's sort of an indirect pathos appeal, you could say. The ethos, again, is not very strong because the author is not a scholar. So that overall, in rhetorical analysis, you would say that logos appeal is the most important. Yeah. So examples would include some research from Formula One and considerations about architecture, etc., etc. Also, you could say perhaps that the central message is that this is a nice idea, and this is supported by the fact that a big company called BASF, a German company, supports the concept. So in that sense, I guess, a little bit of ethos. But again, this would back up the ethos of the product primarily, but to some extent also the author's interest in the product, I guess. Turning to discussion, we already talked a little bit about how you could say that the voice of the author is important and maybe appealing. A lot of good things to say about this. It's detailed, and the pace is nice, as I mentioned. At the same time, maybe this is also the problem, because one could argue that it's too much detail. I mean, if you want to talk about environment, maybe it's not a good idea to be too focused on one little solution. Why would we spend that much time delving into this new technology? It's a possibility, but the video is 1 year old, and still we haven't seen any large scale production of small wind turbines. So probably also, again, this is sort of on the flip side, that when you have a non-scholar, a concerned citizen, and you want to believe that something is interesting and good and tenable, then chances are that maybe you you can't really bet on it because they don't know for sure. And also in the video, the author invites people with more knowledge to comment in the section below. Perhaps it would be better to have some expertise in the studio. So expertise perhaps is on the downside. He's a non-expert and therefore not very convincing. Perspective, Then, well, as I said before, of course, we all agree that the environment is important and it's interesting. So I guess no harm done. Even if this is not the solution, then to some extent it's still valuable to consider different strategies. And maybe some of the considerations will turn out to have more value than the product itself. Uh, so to conclude, I guess I find this enjoyable, I find it interesting, and it's one video amongst many on the channel. I watch the channel regularly. I find it to be well researched. Actually, even though it's non-academic, perhaps also this makes it more palatable. Usually, it's relatively easy to understand and follow, and so therefore I would support this channel. I do. I subscribe, and that's my opinion. Yeah. Thank you.